Hello, I'm Dr. Christian von Lahr, and you're watching Messenger. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Brad King, a nutritional specialist, and he's the author of a new book, and new in this country, right?
Yeah, it's brand new. It's been out in Canada for about a year. It's actually just won the USA Book News Award in the United States as the Male Health Book of the Year.
Excellent, and it's called Beer Belly Blues. Now, before we get started, we want to let people know where your website is.
Sure.
And can they find this and your products that we'll be speaking about?
Absolutely. There's two websites. Okay. For Beer Belly Blues, which is about male menopause, beerbellyblues.com, and my main website is awakenyourbody.com.
Awakenyourbody.com. Excellent. Okay, we've invited Mr. King on our show because we want to bring in some new aspects of wellness. Now, in the New Age field, we do speak a lot about spirituality, psychism, crystals, and various modalities of wellness. And so we're going to want to bring in yours. Now, you're a nutritional specialist, and you do speak about hormones and proteins and vitamins and all of these kinds of things. And I'm going to try and just change the orientation now and speak more about conditions.
Okay.
And let's see if you can't bring that subject or that wisdom into it. Now, Brad, I notice in reading people, and I read just hundreds of people a month as a clairvoyant, as a psychic and medium, and we do see patterns and conditions around the country. One of them is stress and depression. I know you've talked with that recently with John Gray because I was watching that show. And I find that stress is very predominant in men and women.
Yes.
Now, stress is often interpreted as different things by those that have stress. They always think it's some other ailment or some other condition. Let's get a definition of what you think stress is, and let's see, is it something that's caused by childhood issues like many people think? Is it something that may be nutritional? Could it be deficiencies? Let's get that starting perspective.
Well, you know, great questions. And stress is really our perception of our surroundings. It's our reality. It does become a reality because our perception of our reality is what's going on. But it's really how we deal with our surroundings. And we have to understand that we all evolved as human beings.
Is it how we deal with it or how well we deal with it?
Well, it's both, really, when you think about it, because there's good stress and there's bad stress. But, you know, all forms of stress can be bad for certain individuals at the same time. Okay. So we have to understand what stress is. Stress is a response to our environment. It's an internal response that is created as a way of saving our life and helping us adapt to a situation. Okay. You go back a few thousand years ago and, you know, let's say there's somebody that jumps out of the bushes and has a big club and is trying to bang you over the head with it. Well, you know, you don't want to think about what to do. Oh, here comes this guy. He's about to attack me. I think he means harm to me. Okay, I got to remember, can I take him? No, I don't think I can take him. He's pretty big and that club's pretty big. So I got to remember where a good place to hide is. And I have to be able to run there to get away from this guy.
So it's also awareness.
Well, it's awareness, but it's the body's way of taking over for us in a situation where we may not be able to deal with it on our own.
So it's in that sense, the stress is not like an automatic response?
It's a 100% automatic response. And that's our fight or flight mechanism.
And you're indicating also that we're conditioned with this. We've learned
we are absolutely
the eons.
Conditioned.
Okay.
Yeah, we are absolutely conditioned with it. Let me give you an example of conditioning to stress. Here we are, we're children. Okay, we have,
Well, I like the compliments, by the way. You're going to be on again. Okay.
Here we are. We're children. We're playing in the yard.
Sure.
We see a spider. We don't know that that spider may mean danger to our bodies. We've never been taught that. Nothing's been written in our program at this specific time for the spider. So we go to play with the spider. We're children. We're innocent. And our mothers come out running and screaming and pick us up and say, "Don't touch that. It is dangerous." And all of a sudden, we now relay this program. We write over this program that says that thing is dangerous to us. So the next time we see it, that becomes part of our stress response. So not all things really are harmful
Except
to us.
in my case, you would have said, more spiders.
Yeah, more spiders. It's the same thing. You know, some people don't do well public speaking. It's almost like they do have a dangerous spider, a black widow that's about to bite them. They produce the exact same stress response. We don't have to be in an actual stressful situation to produce the hormones that react towards stress within our bodies. We could be thinking about them. We can be worrying about them. And this is why the mind is so powerful when we talk about stress, because studies have actually shown that people that even worry about things can prematurely age their body to the point where they're aging an extra decade just because they're looking after children.
I'm going to stop you there
problems.
because we got a lot of things going on right there. First of all, let me just go back to the word stress. Are we adding the connotation that stress is a negative thing?
Not necessarily. Stress, don't forget, is there to save our lives as well.
Okay. So we're going to explore that in a second. Now, secondly, when you mentioned, what were you just saying? The last point you just mentioned.
I was talking about stress prematurely aging
exactly.
the body.
Yeah. Now, when we read people, and we do this clairvoyantly, we can actually look at them in a certain way where we can see the age they should be. And oftentimes, I will see the person that they're supposed to be, and it helps them to gain some sort of confidence when I can tell them the way they're supposed to look, where they were going when started out when they were younger, what their interests were, and then where their life is. And I'm saying, well, if we compare the two, we see where something went wrong, and it helps us find out where we should start bringing about a change. But it's interesting that psychically we have a blueprint that shows us where we're supposed to be. So stress comes in there, something changed us, right?
Absolutely.
So stress would be the factor there that actually ages us. No, so stress.
Well, that's unrelenting stress.
Yeah, okay.
That's stress that never
bad.
subsides.
Right.
Don't forget, stress is there to save us in times of danger. We're not
and that's its primary purpose.
Exactly. We're not designed to have danger 24/7.
Right.
We're the ones that bring danger into our lives 24/7 because now we're worrying about every little thing within our lives and constantly producing
that's
stress
the word
response.
I'm looking for, the worry.
Yes.
Because stress to me isn't just danger, it's things that we're not used to handling, or we're handling too much, or we're overwhelmed, or we're in situations in life where we're not prepared for it. Aren't those stress also?
Absolutely. As in-laws. That's stress.
Oh.
You go back once again a few thousand years ago, and if somebody bothered you, you'd bonk them in the head. That's what you do. We're relieving the stress response, right? The stress is giving us the power to be able to bonk them hard enough so they won't bother us again. But when's the last time you bonked your in-laws? You internalize it.
This may surprise you.
And that's a whole other show.
Yeah, exactly. So, is stress something that's more prevalent today than it was in the past? Because there are more factors contributing to it?
Yeah, two things. Yes, it's more prevalent, and number two, we're not dealing with it as effectively. I think what's even more important for the audience to understand is that we're not dissipating the stress response. We're creating it, but we're never getting rid of it.
Okay.
And stress is only dangerous when it hangs around a little too long. Here's what I call stress the invisible saboteur. And I don't know if you've ever had, do you like parties? Have you ever held a party?
Oh.
Well, there you go. I mean, you've never invited me, thank you very much. So here's the thing. Anybody who's held a lot of parties, who likes to entertain other people, for me, I always have a party where someone ends up showing up at my party that I didn't invite. And worse yet, I just don't get a good feeling about this individual, and they still show up at the party. So someone's invited them there. And to make matters even worse, they're bothering people that I want to be at my party, and then they're the last to leave the party. And they're the last to leave because they don't get the message that the party's over. And here I am in bed with my wife trying to go to sleep, and they're sitting on the edge of the bed still talking with a drink in their hand. Yeah. The point is they don't understand when enough is enough. And that's what stress is. Stress produces a chemical called cortisol. Cortisol is this very powerful stress hormone that can do many things to help you. It can create fuel, it can make you stronger, it can make you remember things, places where you hid, it can make your eyesight more acute, your memory more acute, all of these wonderful things. But if it doesn't go away, it becomes problematic. So it's easy enough to invite to the party, it's very difficult to get rid of, and that's what stress is.
Latently, it's got all this potential.
Yes.
Okay, but it's still got to be managed. All right.
Yeah, and we need a rest from it. We need a constant rest. Take an animal in nature. Take a zebra who's just been chased by a lion and has actually made it past that danger. What happens is that zebra has had to create a very powerful stress response to allow enough blood supply and oxygen to its peripheral tissues so it could run away to see another day instead of becoming that lion's lunch. Yep. Now, what that zebra does is the stress hormones don't stay elevated. The zebra doesn't go, oh my God, I wonder if the lion's coming back. It doesn't worry about it because there's no more danger. So these stress hormones dissipate. Now, all of a sudden, that zebra gets a ravenous appetite, and it starts eating all the grass to replenish the fuels that it just utilized. Right. Now, when it eats all of that grass and replenishes, it says, I'm tired. I've got to rest. the zebra takes a sleep. And when it sleeps, that's when the body regenerates
so
that it can live
chemical.
to see another stressful day.
So we see the chemical change. Now, this is an interesting aspect. I have this sense, from my observation, that people tend to be addicted to stress. I mean, it's like
interesting.
It's like they learn, they see it so much in their life. They learn they should have it. They see it with their families. They see it with other people. They're in situations where they seem to constantly be reinforcing stress. I don't know if it's learned or imposed on, but it's like they don't even know to stop producing the stress.
Or is it that they're just more comfortable dealing with it because they've been dealing with it for so long that they don't know anything else?
I don't think so. It actually, even when people talk about it, it's almost like they want to own that stress.
Okay.
As if it's mine. When we come back, we're going to explore some other facets of stress with Brad King. Welcome back. Christian von Lahr here on Messenger, and we're talking with Brad King. We left off in the last segment speaking about stress, and that I had this observation that it seems that certain people get addicted to it, and I will say primarily women. My concept or thinking here, and I want to explore this with you, is since women do tend to have this sharing ability, this camaraderie that helps them sort of work through their issues, makes them happier, and tends to reduce stress, they keep mentioning things that suggest to me that they almost want stress in their life. And so I'm wondering, Brad, is there some pattern that we have? Do we lower ourselves chemically where we're constantly trying to put ourselves back in those stressful situations? Or is there some chemistry that's governing what we're looking for?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I call it the soap opera effect. And the soap opera effect, and this has something to do with what you're talking about. This is going to go over well. Well, the soap opera effect is a lot of people are addicted to soap operas. Why are they addicted to soap operas? I think they're addicted to soap operas because a lot of people just aren't very happy within their own lives. And they watch these soap operas to be able to see other people that are maybe just a touch more miserable than they are. Okay. And is that a form of stress? Yeah, that's a form of stress. To me, there's not a lot of happy people that walk around. You know, I travel constantly, and I look at people, and I don't see a lot of smiles. I very rarely hear laughter anymore. You only hear it with the children. We never had to learn how to laugh when we were kids. That was an intrinsic program.
Sure.
You know, we were all born with that. But it seems we get a little older, and we have to become a little more serious. And that's a form of stress as well upon ourselves, because laughter is medicine. It's one of the most important ways for us to lower the damaging effects of stress upon the body.
So does laughter have a chemical effect? Or
absolutely.
Effect?
It has both. It has every type of effect. It has an immunological effect. It has a neural effect on the body. It has a chemical effect on the body.
So lack of laughter is an indication of a deficiency in some way?
Well, I would think so, absolutely. Sure. And you can definitely lower the problems that are associated with stress, meaning the chemistry of stress, the cortisol, the adrenaline, by laughing, and even smiling more. Let me give you an example. There was actually a study that was done just about a year ago, and it was on women who take regular Botox treatments. And what they did was they analyzed...
That had to make them happy.
Well, here's the thing. They were happier, but they weren't happier because they felt they looked better. They were actually happier because the researchers found that they couldn't frown anymore.
Oh my
and
gosh.
by no longer frowning, they were literally fooling the brain into thinking they were a little happier than perhaps they really were. So we can fool the brain into thinking we're happier and produce the chemistry of happiness by smiling more. There's nothing wrong with that. I would rather be fake and smile and fool myself into thinking I'm happier if I'm going to live life that much better.
That is so intriguing. By using these mechanisms and techniques, we can actually sort of trick the body and the body's chemistry, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, part and parcel to this is chemistry.
Yes.
The thing that's causing us stress and causing us happiness, causing us wellness, causing us growth.
Definitely.
In a spiritual sense?
Definitely. Listen, we're the ones that choose whether we're going to be happy with our environment or not. You know, we're the ones who wake up in the morning and say, oh, good God, it's another day, or thank God it's another day. You know, we choose to move around the words and the meanings of those words. Okay. And, you know, I have a little thing where I don't share it to too many people because they think I'm a little strange when I do. But I wake up in the morning and I say, what a fantastic day. It's the first thing I say when I get out of bed, and I really try to create the emotions of it, and it really does affect my day. Whereas I could get up and go, oh, I've got this to do today and that to do today, and what do you think is going to happen with my day? My day's probably not not going to be
It's going to go down, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the way you wake up affects the way your day is.
It's a product of our environment, and everything around us is. So, when I talk about the environment, because there are actually studies that show that our genetic predisposition to disease, or therefore to health, because it's the same thing. We have basically 75% within our favor. In other words, only 25% is the genetic outcome from your family tree.
So if you were right?
Absolutely. Wow. So if you were born with a family who has diabetes or cancer or heart disease, whatever it is, too many people sit back and do nothing. They go, oh, my whole family's obese, they have diabetes, they have cancer, blah, 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 blah. So I'm eventually going to experience that. Why should I do anything? Why should I exercise? Why should I take supplements? Why should I be positive? It's in my genetic tree.
Right.
Your genes are templates. That's all they are. We build our experience upon those templates. And one of the experiences is built upon our environment. And the environment is not just where we choose to live. I mean, we're in beautiful California doing the show right now. It's gorgeous here. But that doesn't mean that we're creating a proper environment within our heads. Right. The environment is also, who do you choose to be around? Are you with positive, like-minded people, if that's the type of person you want to be, which hopefully you are?
Now that's got to be helpful.
Well, that's very important. Or do you choose to be around people who complain a little more than you do and have the soap opera syndrome because you complain too much?
Now I'm going to interject something here because you're going to find this interesting. Again, coming from the clairvoyant, psychic, medium perspective. When I'm reading people, and they do indicate stress and all these problems that they have, I do have the ability to look in the body, and I read a lot of doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists that can validate the things that I'm seeing. And we can see in the body what's deficient, whether there's a heart issue, something with the stomach, brain, larynx, it doesn't matter. The blood, we can see it all. What's interesting, though, is when we do things clairvoyantly, that language is consistent from person to person. There's no ambiguity. Like if I was in Spain or Germany, we would have a language barrier, right? It's very consistent. Color is the one I want to focus on when we look inside the body. When we're unhealthy, it actually takes a different color. Those certain parts of the body will change color to a clairvoyant. But one of the colors that can come up is pink. And when we see an issue in the body where it's glowing pink, like if I see the heart in someone and it's glowing pink, I can tell them right then, okay, you think you have a heart issue.
Interesting.
And we will always be right. But we can do more. We can say, now your mother actually had the heart issue, right? And so the pink is a sympathy color universally, so we know they're picking that up from their parents. In this case, or someone very close to them. You see this a lot with cancer, by the way. This causes stress because they think they are dying. I read so many people that think they're going to be dying of cancer, dying of a brain issue, or this or that, because their parents had it or someone close to them. So that is an example of how the close environment can induce stress. But there's another aspect. When people grow up, they pick up a lot of issues from their parents, and the parents basically give them the problem to carry forward in life. And so they resolve that. Now that's also going to be producing stress, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So where I'm going with this is I'm saying that I think even from the younger ages, that stress is starting because you're resolving problems that weren't yours. And that's why people look different and look older also. So stress is starting. We're literally not born with it, but we start it right away. Now, where I want to go is since stress is some sort of response and awareness in the body, it can be managed, as you were indicating, right? And that's why you're the nutrition expert. And so we're bringing in chemistry with this, right?
Absolutely.
So, is there a smart way to go about this managing stress and chemistry in the body?
Sure there is. I mean, number one, improper nutrition is stress, don't forget, to the body. All the body wants to do is to create homeostasis, which is balance. That's all the body wants to do. We are born with an incredible regenerative capacity. The only difference between you and I and the children that are playing out there right now is children have a better and a greater regenerative capacity than you and I. We've lost a bit of that.
Is it also more intuitive?
Well, it could be intuitive. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But the point is the body is better able to heal itself. We turn over, we replace, we replenish almost 300 billion cells when we have what we call youthful metabolism on our side. That's when we're kids. All of a sudden we get a little older. We can't play with that chemistry as much as we did. I don't know if you remember this. I remember I could go out. I could eat junk food.
What was that comment? You don't know if you remember.
Well, I'm just trying to be respectful to the fact that you may be conscious of all this, maybe you're not. But the point is, when I was younger, when I was in my teens, I was not conscious of this. So I ate at the McDonald's. I ate at all the junk food places. I drank the soft drinks. I abused my body. I didn't go to sleep. I'd miss a couple of nights' sleep and go out partying and the whole thing. But I could do it. I could get away with it because I had youthful metabolism. My body would bounce back.
And yet all those were precursors to stress.
Well, there was stress, but my body could handle it more effectively. Now you get a little older, the body can't handle that, stress. So every little stressor creates an indelible scar upon your physiology and your biochemistry. And you age a little more. You age a little more every single time that happens. Dr. Hans Selye, the father of modern-day stress physiology, taught us that going back in the 1930s. But the point is, we lose our regenerative capacity. And any time a stress comes into our lives when we're a little older, especially if we've broken our bodies down, then the body breaks down that much quicker and it doesn't bounce back as fast.
I'm going to grant, of course everyone would, that we lose that ability. Okay? What are we doing to contribute to our losing that ability, though? The soap operas you mentioned, are we learning, for example, that we should be aging right now?
I think it's easier. I think it's easier for us to surround ourselves with people that complain. I think it's easier to worry than it is to actually become proactive.
There we go.
We are reactive. That's what we are. Okay. Why do we go and see the doctor? Not because we want to ward off disease. We go and see the doctor because we've already got disease. If we were proactive, we would never suffer from disease in the first place. Right. And this is it. I mean, why is the diet industry a $33 billion a year industry? Because people wake up one day and say, oh my goodness, I didn't go to bed fat. I woke up, I'm fat. I want it gone yesterday. They're not proactive, they're reactive. And, if we start to apply proper nutrition, proper movement, proper environment to the brain, meaning allowing positive thoughts into our minds and doing all these things, resting is a form of dissipating stress within the body.
Right.
Yet the majority of us aren't sleeping.
And also proper awareness, as we first indicated.
Definitely.
When we come back, we're going to pursue this a little bit further, but I want to go into some of those factors that cause us to look at this diet over that diet, or this modality over that modality, because, as you indicated, there must be thousands of options and thousands of choices. So when we come back, Mr. King is going to help us find the right solution for our issues in life. We're back with Brad King. You're on